don't like guns. They scare me. But I thought you would like to see this one. It's a very old gun, one that was used by an early pioneer or settler in our country. Oh, back in those days, guns were very necessary. There were no supermarkets from which to buy food. There were no department stores selling clothes. The killing of wild animals could provide both meat for a family to eat and furs and skins from which to make clothing. The settlers also used their guns to scare away some of the fiercer animals that might try to attack them in the wilderness. And I'm sorry to say they also used them against the Indians. The Indians did not like the white families moving on to, using, and well, taking the land that their families had lived on for hundreds of years. I can't say that I blame them. In their anger, they sometimes would attack these frontier families or try to burn down their log cabins. Our story today is about a pioneer family living in Kentucky during the Revolutionary War days. It's called Indian Summer. Ma McCollum went to the cabin door and called,
"Matthew, Toby, go find the cow for us. We need milk for supper."
The two girls, Jeannie and Judith, pointed toward a tree and told their mother,
Ma, the boys are up in that chestnut tree.
That's right. They've been up there all afternoon.
The two boys, Matt and Toby, dropped from the tree and ran across the clearing to the cabin.
Look at all these chestnuts. Must be 1,000.
We can roast some tonight. But first, you have to find Juno and her calf.
Oh, Ma, those old cows.
They're in the woods again. Hurry and find them.
The sun was ready to set. The woods were full of shadows as the boys started off.
Let's get the calf first. Juno always stays near him. That's right. Wherever little old Lucifer goes, that's where Juno goes too. Lucifer! Lucifer! Lucifer!
The boys hollered, but the woods were still. Then they heard Juno's cowbell sounding in the shadows. They called again, but the woods were still.
Are you scared, Matt? Pa said we couldn't be scared. Pa said we must be the men in the family until he comes back. Come on.
The two boys crossed the brook. Dry leaves rustled under their feet. Blackberry brambles scratched their arms and faces. They kept calling for Juno and Lucifer, but all they heard was the hoot of an owl.
Listen, you think that's a real owl, Matt? Suppose it's Indians. We might get scalped. Pa told me Indians sound just like that sometimes. Like owls, I mean. Don't call out again, Toby. If it really is Indians, we don't want them to know where we are.
Matt was worried. Why had Juno strayed so far? Were Indians watching them? Could he and Toby be walking into a trap? Then they heard the bell again, far off in the dim green shadows. Another owl nearby called.
I think it is Indians, Toby. Let's run for the cabin. We have to warn Ma and the girls.
Matt and Toby crossed the brook. They crossed the clearing and ran into the cabin. 3 owls were hooting in the shadows.
Indians, Ma!
When Judith heard this, she screamed and dropped the frying pan into the fire.
Indians got the cows.
Now, boys, did you see any Indians?
No, Ma, but we heard 3 of them calling like owls.
I heard some owls myself.
Ma moved fast. She slammed the cabin door and dropped the bar in place. She pushed a heavy chest against the door. She closed the shutters over the 3 windows and barred them too. Then she turned to the children.
Boys, you poke up the fire. We may need more bullets. Jeannie, you and Judith put on some lead to melt in the kettle. You were right to come back, Matthew. That showed good sense.
Ma poked the rifle through a round hole in the shutter. She squinted into the darkness. They heard another owl. Could it be an Indian? Oh, Ma thought to herself.
Oh, Lord, give me strength to save these children.
See anything, Ma?
I don't see any Indians, but I don't see any owls either. You take the back window, Matt. Toby, you climb into the loft. Judith, you and Sister mold bullets if it is Indians. We'll stand them off, for my name isn't Sarah McCollum.
Maybe all you boys just imagined it was Indians.
We heard 3 owls, Judith. 3 owls hooting and answering.
We sure did.
Never mind, boys. I just pray you were mistaken. Nobody's going to complain if it isn't Indians after all.
Up in the loft, Toby was cold. He pulled a quilt around himself and laid his head against the warm clay wall of the chimney. The fire died down to glowing coals. The girls stopped making bullets. Matt rubbed his eyes to keep awake. Ma stared out at the chestnut tree. Nothing moved in the shadows.
You girls can just as well go on up to bed. Matt and me can tend the fire.
Jeannie and Judith climbed up into the loft, and soon they were asleep. As Matt and his mother sat by the dying fire, Matt said,
I just wish Pa was here. When you reckon he can come home, Ma?
Your father can come home as soon as he licks the British. General Washington will say, Jonas McCollum, you've been a fine soldier, sir. I thank you. Now you go on home to your family. They need you more than I do. And then he'll come home.
I wish he was here now.
Then Matt fell asleep. He dreamed he was marching beside Pa. They had long rifles on their shoulders, and General Washington was out in front, riding his big white horse. Soon Ma fell asleep, too. She dreamed she was standing in the cabin door. It was a sunny morning, and she was wearing her best linen apron. Jonas had just come up the path. He was home from the war, and Ma was saying,
Come in, Jonas. Breakfast is waiting for you. Children, look. Just look who's here.
Everyone in the cabin slept. Then there came the sound of an owl from the chestnut tree. Another could be heard in the dark woods. Another hoot came from the brook. A dark shadow ran to the cabin. An Indian climbed onto the low roof. 2 more Indians came creeping toward the cabin door. The Indian on the roof crawled up to the narrow chimney and squeezed inside. Up in the loft, Toby awoke. He heard something in the chimney. Then he heard a cough.
Ma, Indians! There's an Indian in the chimney, trying to get down. I hear him plain as day.
Ma woke and ran to the fire. She blew on the coals.
Wake up, Matt. Wake up, Judith. Jeannie, wake up. Bring me my feather quilt, Toby. My spiderweb quilt from Virginia. Hurry!
Toby stumbled down the ladder, dragging the quilt behind him. Ma told the children to tear open the quilt. Then she threw big handfuls of goose feathers onto the fire. Oh, a thick cloud of smoke rose up the chimney. They could hear the Indian inside coughing louder and louder.
He was trying to get inside and open the door.
Trying to let more Indians in, I reckon.
Ma ran to the window. She let go with her rifle. 2 shadows ran for the trees.
Lord have mercy, I missed.
Listen, Ma, he's back out on the roof again.
Never mind. Put more feathers on the fire. We'll smoke him out good. If that chimney had been any wider, that Indian would have got down in no time.
The Indian dropped off the roof. Oh, he was still coughing as he ran to the brook. Matt went to the window and took a shot with his rifle.
I missed mine too, Ma.
Just so they're gone.
Ma gathered her children around her. They sat watching and listening, but everything was still. The Indians were gone. As the first light of day broke above the trees, they could hear the voice of Mr. Herod from the fort.
Hello? Hello in the cabin? Sarah McCullum, you all right?
See any Indians? 3 of them were here a while ago. They tried to surprise us.
We heard the shooting. We came as quick as we could. You better come with us. Everyone else is in the fort. They've been there for days.
But if we leave, the Indians will burn this cabin. Jonas worked hard building it for me. I want to save it if I can.
Never mind a cabin. Jonas wouldn't want you to stay here now. Those Indians will be back. Next time they'll come with more men. They'll get you for sure.
Ma's eyes were full of tears. She wiped them away on her apron as she spoke.
I suppose you're right. It would be plain foolish to stay here now. Come on, children. Let's pack up what we can carry. We'll go to the fort.
Matt and Toby and the girls helped Ma pack her things. Then each one picked up a bundle and they started on their way. Beyond the brook, they found Juno and Lucifer quietly eating grass. When Toby saw this, he called,
Look, their bells are gone. The Indians did steal their bells.
Ma told Mr. Herod how Matt and Toby had followed the sound of the bells in the woods, and she told him how the voice had warned them all.
You were smart boys not to let the Indians get you. They wanted you to follow the cowbells deep into the woods, a long way from your cabin. That's an old Indian trick.
When they reached the fort, everyone wanted to hear what had happened. So Ma and Jeannie and Judith and Toby and Matt told their story again. When they had finished, Mr. Herod said,
When Jonas comes home, he's going to be mighty proud of you, Sarah.
Proud of me? He'll be proud of these children.
This story of Indian summer is one that might really have happened. During the Revolutionary War, a great many men were away from home battling the English, and a great many of the settlers' cabins were attacked by Indians. When this happened, families usually went to the nearest log fort where they could protect themselves better. The Indians seemed to like to go on the warpath during September and October. At that time, their corn had been harvested, but the leaves had not yet fallen from the trees, and this meant they could slip through the woods more easily without being seen. It is because the Indians like to attack during early fall that we call the warm days of September and October Indian summer. Unlike the pioneers, Indian summer is a time of year that most of us look forward to now. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Will I? I hope so. Goodbye.
The preceding program was made possible by a grant from the Ohio Department of Education.